Shout out to the gayest podcast out there with Ross and Calum, Jiu Jitsu Oracle.
Welcome to the Jiu Jitsu Oracle's analysis of the new wave team for CJI 2. We're going to run through all the teams that are taking part in the tournament, let you know our thoughts on the 5 grapplers we predict will fill the slots in each team, and give a rating to each grappler. So I'm Ross. I'm joined as always by Calum. Calum, do you want to explain to the viewers and the listeners a little bit more regarding our scoring system for the teams?
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is we're ranking all 5 athletes and the coach of the team out of 5 stars, and then that'll give us a score for the team out of 30. 5 times 6 is 30, I think. So going off of that, how we're doing each star is 5-star is going to be, for the coach, we'll have to rank it slightly differently, but for the athletes, if they're 5-star in that weight class that they're in, they're unlikely to lose a match. So if you imagine Gordon was on this new wave team, we would be giving him 5-star. He's unlikely to lose to anyone. Not to say that he can't lose, but most likely he's going to win every match. 4-star is going to be likely to win most matches, if not win them all, like one of the top guys in their division, likely to win a match that they come up against. 3 stars is going to be, could go either way given the depth of the competition at CGI, but we'd probably favour them to win more matches than not. And then 2-star is still dangerous, could win some matches, could take some guys out, but more than likely are probably going to lose more matches for their team than not. And then 1-star is potentially a bit of a weak link in the team, could see them lose the majority of the matches that they're in, or don't really match up against the other guys in that weight class super well.
Let's start with the lightest category in the new wave team, so that's under 66 kilograms, and we think that Dorian Olivares will be filling that slot. So Callum, what do you think about Dorian as a grappler, and then what rating are we giving him?
Yeah, so Dorian's a really solid placement for them in this weight class. It's probably a weight class they would have had to maybe recruit someone for in the past, but they've definitely got a solid guy in Dorian for that weight class. Dorian is one of these guys that I wish we could do kind of 0.5 stars, but we're not going to do that. Almost want to give him 4 stars, but I just think getting put out first round at ADCC last time against not even one of the top guys, can't really justify giving him that, even though eye test wise he is one of the top looking guys in that division. Just don't think he's proved himself, but I can see him winning more matches than not, especially with the acceleration in his progression, just getting his black belt under Danaher. So I think he's a solid place at 66 for them, and I would give him 3 stars.
Okay. Now, under 77 is an interesting category for New Wave. Do you want to explain why?
Yeah, so they've got a few potential athletes at this weight class, and they're going to do an internal trials in their gym. Don't know if that's going to be like a private affair or whether they're going to stream that. Not really too sure, but we're obviously going to find out the result based off of who's in the team. Guys that we could see in at this slot, as you can see on screen, Gary Tonin, Oliver Taza, Davis Asari. Also believe that Jason Nolf is with them now and could be taking up that slot. And I've also heard that Isaac Michel may cut to 77. So it's going to be tough choosing between those guys, especially seeing how Jason Nolf developed recently. He could have made a massive leap. If that was the case, I might have him as a favourite. Also don't know how Isaac would look at that weight, but I think based off of the information we know just now, I'd probably lean towards Oliver Taza. I think Davis is a bit too inconsistent, and I think Gary Tonin hasn't really shown too much recently in his pure grappling career.
Okay, and would you say out of all those guys, Taza perhaps has the most submission threat to win by that method in a match?
I would say either him or Garius. I think they've both got a good threat of the leg locks and other submissions, but I think Taza has shown it more recently, so we'd probably go with Taza, yeah.
Okay, and a star rating for Taza?
I'll give him 2 stars. I don't think that's the strongest placement for them. I think he is still dangerous. He could definitely win some matches, but we see him competing at this level a lot, and I feel like his record against the kind of guys that will be at CGI is probably a losing record by a decent bit. He's still one of the best grapplers in the world, but yeah, I can see him losing the majority of matches that he gets into at his weight class compared to some of the other really strong names that we're going to see at 77.
Okay. Under 88 kilograms, I think the pick for that category is absolutely nailed on, and it's going to be Giancarlo Bedone. What do you think of Bedone for New Wave?
Yeah, obvious choice for them. I don't think, aside from Isaac, they don't really have much other people around that weight, but won the last two ADCCs, so that kind of says it all. Hasn't always had the best performances outside of ADCC, but hopefully, given the fact that CGI is also the biggest competition around, he's going to rise to that ADCC level, Giancarlo Bedone, that we usually see. Because the performances outside of the ADCC can't really give him 5-star, but I think 4 stars for him is very fair. I think he's most likely to win most matches that he gets into at that weight class.
Maybe August is peak time for Bedone.
Yeah.
And that's when CJI 2 is happening. So, 99, again, I think one clear contender, Luke Griffith. How do you rate Luke?
One clear contender, given the fact that we don't have Merigali or Gordon on the team, but Luke's looked really good recently. If you think about some of the other guys that might be around this weight class, Felipe Pena, who he lost to at ADCC, but he had a really good match against and maybe made some tactical errors, and another couple guys, Nicky Rod, who we've not seen that match yet, but Victor Hugo, he'd probably be an over 99. He'd just beat Victor Hugo. And then as well, Kynan might be in that weight class, and he's beaten Kynan pretty dominantly as well. So I think at the point that we're seeing Luke now, the progression he's made recently, still a bit inconsistent, but I think 4 stars is pretty fair for where he's at right now.
Yeah, I think 4 is fair for now, but his trajectory is perhaps to be a 5-star grappler in the near future.
Yeah.
And then at the plus 99 category, because Gordon is not competing right now, it seems that Big Dan will be their competitor at that weight.
Yeah, so I would think for Big Dan, 3 stars is probably fair. Definitely can't justify him going up to 4. Did get bronze at ADCC. Is a very strong submission threat, and obviously is in a really good gym, so I can imagine he's made some good strides in his game recently. So for him, I'd probably see him winning more matches than not. Could go slightly the other way, but I think 3 stars is a pretty fair judge for him.
Okay. So, the coach, John Danaher. How do you rate John?
I think John is consensus the best no-gi coach in the game right now. It's what most people think anyway, and I think that is a fair assessment. You could probably make arguments for some other people, but I think it is completely fair to say that. I think giving John Danaher anything less than 5 stars would be somewhat disrespectful maybe, but I think 5 stars is definitely fair for the caliber of coach that he is.
Okay, so combined, that gives us 21 out of 30 for New Wave. So when you hear that score, what do you think? Is that like a fair reflection of where they stand? And given that this is the first one we're doing, how do you think that will ultimately stack up against other teams? I mean, is New Wave going to be one of the favourites to take it, or do you see other teams maybe coming in ahead of them?
Yeah, so it's 21 out of 30. I think that averages at about 3.5 stars out of 5 as well. Doesn't sound the best, but if you think about like the kind of level that we're needing for someone to be 5 stars, we're not going to have any teams being close to 5 stars. So 3.5 stars is still a really good rating. I think, you know, when people thought about the New Wave team originally, probably sprung to mind the likes of Gordon and Merigali. Obviously, they're not going to be competing here. I think it's a really solid score. I think probably likely to see maybe slightly stronger teams, if not similar teams from the likes of Atos and the North and South American teams. But I definitely would say they're top 3 from the people that I can think of. So them, Atos, and the North and South Americas are the favourites at this point, I would think.
Okay. And I think shaking out at 3.5 per category is pretty good. I mean, that puts you above average, and they've definitely got a couple of guys in Bedoni and Luke who we favour to win the majority, a big majority of the matches they're taking part in. So I think that is a very solid team for New Wave. So if you're to do a prediction right now, not knowing how the bracket's going to shake out, and we haven't rated all the other teams yet, what do you think about New Wave? Are we saying first round? Are we saying semi-finals, finals, or winners? Do you have like a prediction as to where they're going to roughly be?
Because I've put them around, I'd put them like at the 3 seed, probably, if I was to seed it out. So I think semi-finals, pretty likely, depending on how the bracket shakes out. Can definitely make the finals, like that's no question, but I think at least semi-finals.
Okay, well, let us know your thoughts on Team New Wave, the grapplers that we think are going to be taking part, the ratings we've given to those grapplers, the coaches' rating, and the overall chances for Team New Wave. And tune in to the Jiu Jitsu Oracle, where we're going to run through all of the teams taking part in CJI 2, give our thoughts, give our ratings, and give our predictions as to who's going to win it all.